Hey, you. Oh. Betsy Bombeck.
Is this thing on? Hello? Hello. Thank you, Mary Lou. That was terrific. Wasn't that wonderful?
Thank you.
We're going to take about 20 minutes here and talk to Mary Lou and Betsy Bombeck. And hope you all enjoyed the show. Any dry eyes out there? Lumps in throats? Yeah, I know. I'm still trying to swallow mine. Let me just introduce both of these ladies real quick. Betsy Bombeck is here with us. I doubt seriously that Betsy ever gets tired of being referred to as Erma Bombeck's daughter. Irma might say, you know, Betsy's her own woman. She's got plenty of things to her own credit. Betsy is program manager of a crisis mental health facility and the owner of Bombeck Design Group in Phoenix. But her early years were spent just miles from here in Centerville in a 1959 three-bedroom ranch-style home at 162 Cushwa Drive, just recently named to the National Register of Historic Places. I'm sure Irma would have a field day writing a column about that. What would your mom say about that?
I don't know. She would hope the dust balls were cleaned out from under the couch.
Well, she wrote a lot of her columns in that house,
Right,
too.
she did.
Betsy has generously returned to Dayton and the Writers Workshop named after her mother over the years. In fact, I had the pleasure of sitting with you and your brother Andy in 2004 when Nancy Cartwright was keynote speaker. Phil Donahue was here that year, too. And I remember they showed a film of your home, I think it was Home Movies, and some little dog just kept running over. And Phil Donahue goes, we need to see more of that dog running around. So welcome, Betsy Bombeck.
Thank you. Thank you.
And, and now we all feel like we know Mary Lou Quinlan, too. At least we know your mother, Mary Finlayson, who I'm sure would be so honored at the book and the one-woman show that you've created. Mary Lou has had quite a career to this point, as you sort of gathered in her show. She's been a marketer, an author, an actress, a speaker, advocate for women, and most recently winner of Dancing for the Future Stars in Philadelphia. You won.
I did.
She won the Philadelphia version and raised money for Catholic schools.
Yes.
What a wonderful thing.
Foxtrot and a jive.
Great. And her book, The God Box, became a New York Times bestseller in just 3 weeks. And tonight we can all see why, just as Erma Bombeck touched our lives, so has Mary Finlayson through her daughter. So thank you, Mary Lou, for being here tonight. Let's just talk for a few minutes. Both of you have mothers that we all feel like we can relate to. My own mother used to read Irma's column and practically choke on her coffee, laughing, because I think a lot of us have mothers, or we know a woman in our lives who stayed home because they loved their kids and they took care of their families. Then the monotony of housework and things like that kind of got to them. But Irma put such a funny spin on it. And then Mary was one of those compassionate women, like many of us know, who was always praying for somebody, the mailman, whoever it was who had a need. So, Mary Lou, I'll start with you. What's it like to have that every woman mother who every other women relate to and want as their friend or their mother?
Well, I loved it when she was with me, because I'd always find her, like after she'd be with one of my friends, the friend would leave and mom would say, well, you know she's pregnant. I'm like, no, she didn't tell me. Like everyone told my mom everything. So she was my informant. But since then, I have to say, like, I feel like I'm with her always, you know, when I'm doing the show. And so when people say that I really like Mary, it's just like she's still here in the world. So I love that.
It's been almost 9?
Oh, gosh.
2006?
Yeah, you're right. That'll be 9, 2006.
Yeah, not that long.
It goes fast.
It doesn't it, though?
Feels like forever, and it feels like yesterday.
Yeah. And Betsy, I mean, everybody, she's like a legend, especially here in Dayton. Her name's on a building down the street here. Right. So what's it like to come back to Dayton and have people so embrace Irma?
Well, I think it's fantastic. You know, it's just you know, it's almost 19 years that she's been gone, and like Mary Lou said, it seems like forever, and it seems just like yesterday. But it's just wonderful to have people remember her and to think really great things about her, and to laugh and to talk about things that they laugh about or things that they read. And people still are reading it today. You know, that they're giving it to their daughters and friends of mine. They have to read this, you know, to know what it's like. So it's great.
Do we become our mothers, Betsy? How are we alike, and how are you alike, and how are you different from Erma?
Well, I mean, you know, you dread that, you know, when you, oh God, I just sounded like my mother. I can't believe it. But how am I alike? I mean, one thing, how I'm different is she was very much more shy, which seems very odd, but she was much more quiet, and I was a lot louder. And I always had the memory, and I knew the people, and she says, just talk to me and act like we know each other, and I don't remember people's names, and I remember the names. So, how we are alike, you know, we both just are going after what we want to go after, and taking on whatever we can take on, and just really seizing the day and seizing the moment, and really loving our family. And my family is still very, very close.
That's great.
You know, so that's how we're alike.
What about you, Mary Lou? How are you like your mother and different from her?
I'm a really good eavesdropper. I'm a manic eavesdropper. And I think also like her, she and I were good at picking out the sore points in people, like a sadness, you know, or finding in a crowd I can go up to somebody and say, are you all right? You know, I learned that from her because she was so sensitive and taught me that. Different, I think it's funny that you say, you know, that Erma was quieter. I would say I'm nervier than my mother. She would have said, well, what the heck are you doing up here right now? She was my champion, but at the same time, she was always telling me, like, pull back, take it easy a little bit, but I'm just relentless, and on her behalf, but there's no stopping.
What do you think you miss most about her?
Oh my God, I missed her right this second.
Yeah. You feel like she's here?
Yes, I do, but you know, you just wish you were right here.
Yeah.
You miss those moments in life when you have an important something, an achievement, a disappointment. That's when I miss talking to her because she always made it right. So what I do is this story is true. Everything in this story is true, and I do have a garden, and even though she was not a gardener, and I have a bench in it, and just this weekend, I sat on it because I was feeling a little lost, and I talk it out loud with her. Mom, what would you say? And I practice speaking like she spoke, so I just say it right back to me, and there she is telling me what she thought. So it's weird, but I feel like I do still keep her in my life. Mm-hmm.
That's great. What about you, Betsy? What do you miss about Erma?
The same thing. You know, we talked about, Mary Lou and I have made each other cry since we first saw each other
Yeah,
this
we're a
weekend.
laugh riot together.
It's just a laugh fest. You know, I miss her all the time.
Yeah.
But I most especially miss her when there's odd things that go on in the world. And I go, wonder what she would have said about that. And I try to think what she would have said. And sometimes I get it and sometimes I don't. But, you know, I'm lucky because I have tons of video, tons of tape, you know, and so I can hear her and I can see her and I can read what she has said. And she's still very current, so it's good.
How many of you out there have lost your mother? So you can relate to that because you never stop missing her, right? My sister's here, Alexis. She was 4 when our mother died of breast cancer at the age of 40. And that's why I so vividly remember Erma, because my mom got such joy out of reading Erma's column. And my sister said to me this past weekend, we had a niece get married, and she said, I miss our mom. Yeah. And she was just a little girl and can hardly remember. So that never goes away. Thanks for the levity. I knew she'd shine me up here. Betsy, your mom's columns, how close did they come to reality? Was there any embellishment in those things, or was that pretty much
there was so much embellishment. If we actually did all the things she said, you know, I probably, well, I wouldn't be in jail, but I would have been in a lot more trouble. You know, we even had a 4th child. She tried to confuse people as to, you know, what child she was writing about. although I was the only daughter, so I kind of, it was kind of obvious. But she goes, well, I made up the fourth child. So, yes, there were some embellishments, definitely.
Did you have a favorite column of hers?
You know, it's very interesting. I liked a lot of them, but I think that my favorite one, my favorites were generally the more serious ones. It's the one that said, I loved you best, and why she loved each of us the best.
And why did she love you best?
I can't remember. No, it was because I was the first, and I was the beginning of their lives and that.
That's great. And Mary Lou, so many accomplishments in your life, and then after your mother's death, we use the term reinvented, which is starting to sound kind of like a cliche to me, but you sort of evolved. You know, do you think you were meant to do something like this, that it was her passing that really made you become fully who you were meant to be?
Yeah, in a strange way, I think that's true, because my career, which was interesting and compelling and kept me going and paid the bills and all that, but after Mom, it was as if I wanted to be unleashed, to be more like her, to be more out there. Her story, ironically, became the trigger, for the book and then the play, and I never thought I'd be doing this. This was a lifelong dream from being a child, so it's as if I feel like she gave this to me as a gift. I do.
I'm sure
And so that's why I figure she's up there saying, oh, you missed a line, but that was okay.
Well, if you did, I didn't notice it. She
Yeah,
didn't
well.
stumble once, my goodness.
I want to get an A.
I think you got it. Betsy, what's the one thing that you would like this audience, who, of course, adored Erma Bombeck, what would you like them to take with them tonight?
I think, just that there's laughter everywhere, and that never take yourself so seriously. Have a really, really good time in life, because it's very short, and do what you want to do every day. Take it to the limit, and she used to tell me, take it to the limit so that when you end your day, you put your head on the pillow, you can say you did everything you needed to do that day, and you can sleep peacefully.
Sounds good, and that's more than checking off a list. And Mary Lou, this show that you've just performed for us, which is so wonderful, what would you like us all to take away from this? What is your gift to us?
Well, in doing the show, and it does have the G word in it, and I never set out to in any way preach, ever. My mom was not that way. Everybody in the box, But the thing that she did share, and I hope came through, that there is something in having a deep-seated faith and believing in whatever that is for you, and letting go. We all think we're in charge, I certainly am guilty of that in a huge way, and to give it over and let go. I think she'd say, give it a shot. You might have a good night's sleep, and that's all she wanted for everybody. Yeah.
That's great. Well, we're going to have a book signing with Mary Lou and a dessert reception. I know there's something that you'd like to say.
Well, yeah, here comes the salesperson, Mary Lou. Okay. The marketer still lives. No, I just wanted to put the book out there, because the whole goal of why we're here is to help the Erma Bombeck Writers Workshop continue and grow, so more writers can come and be part of it. And so, as Cheryl said, the whole play and this whole evening is toward that. But any books you buy tonight, you all got one because you're so generous to buy these fancy tickets. But if you buy a book, it's a great gift for mothers, sisters, soul sisters, daughters. But it is, Mother's Day's coming, and I'll sign it and personalize it, and it's all going to the workshop, So I'm just giving you an extra pitch. We are headed out there to sign and give hugs like crazy right now.
Okay, we'll do that. And may I say namaste.
Namaste.